Hey everybody, it's your buddy Admiral Teague, and for the last 45 minutes I've been making a vain attempt to record a coherent review of my thoughts about the movie Section 31 by Alex Kurtzman of so-called Star Trek. Well, if you've seen enough Alex Kurtzman, and God knows if you've seen 2 minutes of Alex Kurtzman, you've seen enough. But if you've seen anything, Cowboys and Aliens, anything, it's the same story beat as always. We have the same characters. Every single character is a wisecracking cut up, except for the one character who's labeled a stick in the mud, who just can't have enough fun with everybody else to be along with the game. That the stick in the mud is Rachel Garrett in this one, and Section 31 is a lovable bunch of misfits. Okay, that's where we're going with this. And let me just say, Mr. Kurtzman, what you've just shown me is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever viewed. At no point in your rambling, incoherent movie were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone who's seen this is now dumber for having viewed your film. If you could call it, it's not a film or a movie, it's just a streaming piece of garbage. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. On a 1 to 10 scale, this movie was a minus 375. We're all so much worse off for the fact it exists. All right, here we go. We want to know what happens. All right, here we go. We see a transmission from Section 31 to God knows who. It's to us, the audience. It's blatantly to us, the audience. It tells us everything that's going to happen. On a space station in the middle of nowhere on the edge of Federation space, beyond some treaty that no one cares about, we have to send Section 31 to get Empress Philippia Grigio, played by Michelle. Yo, Michelle! Anyway, what's going on with that one is we hear this voice. It's really familiar. I thought it was Julianne Moore. It reminds me of Eagle Eye. They kind of cycle through a bunch of movies that they think are profound because they have no taste, right? So there's an amalgam of both terrible movies that they thought are good and like mediocre movies that we all thought were mediocre that they think are just the greatest movies ever. And then there's a few movies that everyone knows are good that they were told in film school to kind of try to do things from. They use every bad plot device imaginable. Ticking clocks, withheld information, the stupid MacGuffin, but the Alex Kurtzman storytelling style like undercuts all of this. So like once we get to our stupid MacGuffin, like we don't want to say what it is, then we explain what it is, then we act like we don't know what it is. It's like that's throughout this entire movie. After we introduce our cast of misfit characters, our lovable misfit characters, once again, we have a team of lovable misfit characters, and the only one that we can't relate to is uncool, right? Catherine Garrett, who's a by-the-book Starfleet person. Don't worry, at the end of the movie, she'll red rum a bunch of people and feel a lot better. It'll break her out of her shell, and she'll finally become the homicidal maniac that you need to be a Alex Kurtzman character, all right? Everybody speaks their story out loud. All characters, as they say, speak in the same voice, except for Mech Man and the person who's obviously our bad guy. But like the tropes are Alex Kurtzman's characters just say things, and there's one character who's supposed to clear everything up for you, and that character is like overly high-strung and nervous, so they just keep blurting things out and cutting themselves off and self-interrupting and blurting things out. Honestly, it's one of the most insane dissertations you'll ever see from any of these characters because they all talk in edge talk, and Alex Kurtzman thinks he's a genius, all right? So we have this nervous Vulcan, and they steal from Men in Black too. He's got a little tiny creature inside his brain driving it, like pushing levers and gears. It's that dumb. And sometimes it flies out and goes into the minds of other creatures and penetrates them. I guess it's got like a 5G upload to this dumb Vulcan, and the Vulcan's on like ecstasy. It laughs out loud. This whole story, it's like it's from another bunch of movies. It's like their outfits are from like the worst iteration of the Matrix, like that last one. They just bought the outfits. Everyone walks around in Matrix clothes. Michelle Yeoh's character like wears like this weird chainmail mask a lot. It has like no aesthetic or visual appeal. It offers no protection. It's just there because it's not Michelle Yeoh. They want to get around a few scenes without using her. She's filmed from behind. She's filmed from far away. They put a blurring effect on her face. Every single thing you can do to avoid showing us who it is. I mean, what do I say about this movie that's good? That it could have been longer? Anyway, so Michelle Yeoh's old fiance is some guy from the Mirror Universe where Michelle Yeoh's character was once Emperor. Not Empress, Emperor. That's right, we've reused another male title and given it to a female. So Emperor Grigoriou serves the people from Helldivers 2, but for some reason she left them and came here after building a bunch of destructive devices and like burning her boyfriend's face with a scalding hot sword because we don't have lightsabers and flame swords were just done. And I guess honestly, they must have thought that Zack Snyder Rebel Moon movie was really, really, really good because they seem to be trying to copy Zack's aesthetic and his bad color grading when they flash to her planet, which is like planet Krapton, or whatever you want to call it. And like maybe the best way to put it is this movie craps on me. So everything's in place, right? Everyone has a dark secret. Everyone has a dark past, except for Rachel Garrett. She's having her dark secret right now out in front of us, right? She's part of this team of losers. Unfortunately, the sexy chick is not that great looking, and she's dressed like trampy, and that equates to being sexy in the world of Alex Kurtzman. That, like alluring is not part of sexy. And no one's allowed to be like sexier than Michelle Yeoh, who's like kind of old. And like, let me tell you, like grandma dressed up as a hooker, talking like a hooker was how Chris Gore put it when he was summing up his impressions, and I can't put it better myself. I can't come up with better words. Chris Gore, you're a better man than I, or you just saw it first and there's no other way to put it. I don't know. You're definitely a better man than I, but there may be no other way to put it. And this was dumber than the dumbest episode of Voyager without the charm. All right, fast forward to the end of this stupid story. So after a bunch of meaningless adventures where all characters show that they're exactly the same, we get rid of White Guy as fast as we can because he's an idiot. He's an idiot. And he talks like this out loud to himself, see? It's kind of like he's cracky, you know? Remember the idiot guy from the second Road Warrior movie who, like, fixed the cars and the engine? It's like, the bearings are cracked. It's missing 2 teeth off the gears. How long does it take to fix it? About an hour. Remember that guy? He's that guy. Or he's any tough idiot. This character, it's like, if you don't like men, this is like the lampshaded way of having a man you could really not like. He's real manly. He doesn't know his own strength. And like by manly, I mean like he drinks and boasts and acts like an idiot and like basically is a neurotic woman. As we go through this story, this character deletes himself, and what happened is the Vulcan hacked his mech suit. So he wears this hackable piece of tech while hanging around with somebody that he knows can hack it, and he does this after they know that one of them can't be trusted. This mech suit gains him no advantage. It just gives him a Borg/Dune aesthetic. They're going for the Dune aesthetic and the Hellraisers 2 aesthetic off and on throughout this whole thing. They're not going for a Star Trek aesthetic. They show us the Delta logo at the beginning and the end of this. Anyway, one thing leads to another, and I really mean this happens, and this happens, and this happens. It's just a chain of events that they're directly related because one causes the other. There's no like something happens because we did something that made something else happen and had implications. Everything is directly caused by the thing that happens before it. And then like withheld information just dumped on you, and we find out the masked guy who's like acolyte kind of a character who's been showing up like, yeah, that's her old boyfriend, just like I thought it was. And you can see about 20 to 50 minutes ahead of this movie at any given time. And after about 25 minutes, you've seen all the way to the final act. You can see it coming. It's so slow and so boring. Watch the first 10 minutes and then take a guess. It'll be better than what they came up with. No headcanon's worse than this. This was worse than the Star Trek stories that me and my friends acted out behind the garage, dressed in ad hoc Star Trek uniforms with tinfoil badges taped to our t-shirts, trying to act like Scotty and Spock and Kirk. And those were better characters and better characterizations and better stories than you'll get with Section 31. Same old empty mystery box. Nothing inside as usual. Nothing of value is lost. Alex Kurtzman is the worst and the least talented disciple of untalented and terrible J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams went to school where P. Diddy grew up, and that seems to be like all you need to know, man. Like this story belongs in like Sleepy Hollow or Mount Vernon, New York. It's like a ghoulish and boring and stupid tale with electronic dance music throughout. At the end, surprise! It's not Julianne Moore. It's Jamie Lee Curtis, or as I would have to call her now, Lane Jamie Lee Curtis, it's so lame. She pops up in sort of like her Borderlands motif, and she's hyper and insane and babbling way too fast, like every single Alex Kurtzman character does. If you've seen The Fugitive, if you've seen U.S. Marshals, this is the style that every character has. Overlapping dialogue. Everyone's talking way too fast over each other at the same time, cutting each other off and self-interrupting, finishing each other's sentences, finishing their own sentences by interrupting and then going back to what they saw before. It's so tangential and terrible. At the end of the day, they're set up for a series that's not going to happen, thank God. What can I say about it that's good? It could have been longer. What can I say about it that's good? At least it was only one episode, not a bunch of episodes. It's not really a movie, but I guess on paper, they got the next Star Trek movie out of the way. Don't bother to waste your time. And you know what? Abandon all hope, ye who enter. Please hit the like and subscribe button for more happy, upbeat reviews like this. I love you all.